Okay. So, hi, Savannah. How are you today? And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Thanks. So, let's jump into it.
Okay.
So, how did you first start smoking? Tell us your background story.
Okay. Well, it was late actually. I was 23, 24. I had always been against smoking. My dad smoked his whole life. And I can remember being young, like little girl, probably 8 or 9, and just going around and hiding his ashtrays and hiding his cigarettes and, try to get him to quit. And I had always been against that. And I was seeing my boyfriend, now husband, and of course he smoked. And we were just out in front of his car and he said, "Here, try this." And I was like, I was like, I'm kind of against that. And he said, "Oh, just one cigarette's not going to hurt you." And sure enough, it hurt. It hurt for years.
And that was the start. So, and then you just continue, and that's it.
Yeah, it was. I was almost like it didn't even. It was nasty. It tasted nasty, and it burned. And I'd always thought, oh, you smoke one cigarette, you're going to be instantly addicted, and uh, it wasn't like that. I wasn't. I didn't really think about it, and then went home, and a couple of days later, I was just sitting there. I was like, you know what? I was like, a cigarette kind of sounds good. I was like, and it never really. I went to the gas station and I bought one, and it was almost like I didn't even really understand what I was doing. I just kind of I just did it, Um, and then I went home and I must have you know, somewhere in there I must have known I was doing something wrong because, and I'm 24 years old. I can do what I want. I must have known I was doing something wrong because I went outside in the driveway and kind of stayed away from everybody and smoked one and was like, oh, I was like, yes, pretty good. And before I knew it, I smoked a pack and then I was getting another one and another one. And
Wow. Do you think, I know because you help a lot of people as well. You hear a lot of stories of other people, how they start. Do you think, in the beginning, it's really like a social pressure? Like most of the things that I see, like, whether it's your friends, they're smoking, you want to be like them, or it's your partner, or it's you just want to be part of the group. A lot of people, I think, start like that. Do you agree, or you think it's something else?
probably, I mean, I would say maybe 20 years ago, it may have been like that. And I think the way that kids are now, they're like teenagers are they're going more towards vaping now. The vaping is the new cigarette. Like when we smoked, it was kind of, I guess it was pressure. I guess you could say it was pressure. And the ones, all the ones I have in group and everything, they're they're more my age and older, and uh, we see less of the young ones because they almost know, hey, I don't want to smoke, I don't want cigarettes, I don't want those. They understand that it's been ingrained in them that that's bad.
Mhm.
But the older ones, with the stories that I hear, it's my boyfriend told me to do this, or my girlfriend was, we were hanging out in a group, and it seems to be more of that. So I guess.
I think it's also helps that back in the days they didn't even tell the truth about cigarettes. With all those, there wasn't enough research done, and a lot of people they had no idea how
No.
bad cigarettes actually are. So, but in terms of, you mentioned vaping, is it better than cigarettes? I've heard that has its own problems as well.
In what, I don't want to say that it's better, and I don't want to say that it's worse, because in one of my hundreds of times I tried to quit, I went to vaping. Of course, I think everybody is like, okay, it's kind of, the in between. I don't have to actually quit, but I can go to this. And I went to vaping, and I tell you what, and I see it so much in group that I would defend that to the end. My husband would be like, every time I'd be like, this is so much better. This is so much healthier. And he'd say, and this was when vaping became, and when it was early, and I was like, no, this is so much better. I was like, I can do this. And I did it for, I mean, I was off cigarettes probably for 3 months, 4 months. And then after 3 or 4 months, I felt the effects of this isn't better.
Mhm.
And I realized I got to where I would inhale it, and then I would almost feel like my lungs just stopped, just were paralyzed for seconds at a time. And that scared me enough to where I quit that. But when I'm in group and I see people defend, because we let all, everybody's welcome. Everybody, if you want to vape, that's fine. We'll support you. Whatever you want to do. The end goal is everybody quit. Everybody quit, and you're free. That's what it seems everybody wants. Not trade one evil for another,
Yeah.
But I can see it in my vapors, how they defend it. You don't want to tell them this isn't good, even though you want to say this isn't good. You might want to quit this. They're going to defend it because it's all they can do. Just the way I felt, it was all I could do was, it was the only thing that was keeping me from smoking. And, you don't want to hear the bad stuff about that.
I guess if you use it as a step, why not? If eventually it's going to help you. So right. I think the person who's trying to quit smoking is, which this is going to lead to my next question. I believe quitting smoking is one of the hardest things to quit. Like it's, so they're going through a lot of stuff, and then. To some people, they can do it. They can, they can do cold turkey, but others they have to do it step by step. So everyone's different. There's not one formula for everybody. So I think if it can help them, why not?
Right.
Use that. But then if don't lie to yourself. Don't be like, okay, now just replace cigarette with vaping and I'm okay. No.
Right. And that in steps are fine. Some people I've seen them do it. They've done the patches, they've done the gum, they've done vaping, and they've done it. They've gotten off of cigarettes from, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this step down plan. I'm going to do it. And I've seen some who were like me, who just decide, hey, this is black or white. I can do it, or I have to do it this way, or there's no way. And that's after so many attempts of so many things, because I see people on there that, I can't do the gum because of this, and I can't do, the patches because of this. And I have really bad panic disorder, so I couldn't do patches and gum and things like that because it just makes your brain go haywire for some people. And that scared me too much. So my only option was cold turkey. Mm-hmm. So, but to each their own. We support whatever they can do, whatever it takes, step down or cold turkey, whatever it is. One's not better than the other.
Yeah. Now you smoked after 24 you start, and for how long did you smoke?
I just at 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
Just at 10 years, I had always said I'm going to stop before I hit 10 years, and I did. I stopped right at before I hit 10 years. I said I got to stop before 10 years because I had always heard if you go to 10 years, you're going to go forever. And so, it's one of them things you hear that, it isn't true.
Was that that was my next question. Was that the reason because, smokers, they always say, I'm going to quit, or one day I'm going to quit, or, someday I'm going to quit. But then something happens and then they make that decision in those few seconds, or that decision always is done within few seconds.
Right.
What was yours when
my decision, I guess, started whenever, because it wasn't okay. I had made that decision 100 times, like, each time was probably for something different, because my health just kept being worse and worse things added on. So in the beginning, it was probably, why is my chest so tight all the time? Why, why am I coughing more than what he's coughing over here? Or it just became something different each time until it became there was so many packed on that I was just like, okay, this has to quit. I can't breathe anymore. So that was, I think, the very first time. I think everybody's reasons probably deep down is probably the same. This is bad for me. I have to quit. It's going to kill me. And
in terms of I think everyone knows that it's bad, but I believe something happens that triggers you emotionally to say, you know what, I've had enough. Because I've seen, like, I've had friends who I had a friend who smoked for over 15, 20 years. And then one day he was just lying in bed and something happened in his chest and he couldn't breathe. And the next day, boom, done. He didn't
Yeah,
smoke.
that
So
one
I'm like,
that, that one thing is fear.
yeah, exactly. So, but some people, they don't, they don't get to that point, or when they get there, it's too late. And, especially when you want to help a loved one. Like, for example, I went through this with my wife. So my wife, she smoked for a long time, and I tried every tips and trick to give her that emotional trigger.
Right,
I tried talking, I tried, telling stories.
right,
I was a social smoker, but then I stopped
right,
myself to be a good example. And then it got to a point, nothing worked. It
right,
got to a point one day I was thinking, maybe, I was looking on YouTube because I searched so many quit smoking and blah blah. I know how YouTube or Google shows you the stuff that
right,
you researched. I saw this video and it was so emotional, and it was like, it literally, if you watch it, it makes you cry. So
right.
I showed that to my wife. She looked at it, and the next day she didn't smoke. She started. So
Huh.
I'm like, sometimes, do you have any tips or tricks how you can motivate? I was thinking, actually, taking someone to a hospital to see somebody who smoked, and they're in a really bad situation, so let them see and really experience, because the problem is everybody thinks it's not going to happen to me.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See, and the thing is that they think that some of them do think, hey, this isn't going to happen to me. I always thought it will happen. I always thought if you don't stop, this will happen to you. I've seen it. I seen my dad. This stuff thickens your blood. It does things that it shocked me whenever I started group and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. How many things that I consider common sense, but they really didn't know, and it wasn't their fault. They just didn't know. And maybe it's because some of us do tons of research and some of us just don't. But they just didn't know things. Like, it took me a long time of learning how it's cigarettes can mess up diabetes. Cigarettes thicken your blood. They clog your arteries. Like, things that not just, oh, you're going to get lung cancer. It's tons and tons of things you wouldn't think. It messes up your fertility. Like, we had tried to have a baby it took us 5 years. Like, and it could have been due to smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I smoked so much that it was, I can't imagine what it was doing to my insides. And it should, I think with some people it's just a switch. Like, some of us, it takes try and try and try again. And then some of us, hey, I just watched so and so stop breathing because they have COPD, and that scares them. So
Hmm.
fear, I think fear for a lot of them is what brought them to group, actually.
It's a good motivator for once. We can
Yeah.
use fear positively. Well,
Oh,
there you go, guys. Savannah said there's no one formula for everybody. You just need to find out. You just need to try different pathways and see what works for you. Actually, just don't give up. Now, you have a wonderful community on Facebook. I've been part of that. And first, uh, do you think being part of a community can be helpful? Is it important, and why?
I think it's probably the most important thing. The thing that stuck, I did like I told you, I tried everything. And the thing that stuck was I had went to a site just kind of like what I had, but far, far less important, like involved and supportive. And I just, made a post. Hey, I need a buddy. I need a quit buddy. I have to have somebody with me because misery loves company. And I've always been the type that's like, I have to have someone who is feels like I do right now and is going to struggle with me because I can't do this by myself. Like, I think that's the main thing is that you fail. Like one of the main reasons you fail is because you feel alone. And, I had my husband and my kids, pushing me and things like that, but I needed somebody to suffer with me. And that was the whole point of, to me, to make group, is I wanted to, that person that was my buddy basically helped me save my life. Like he suffered with me, like everything, I felt what he was feeling, and we played off each other. And him saying, I remember him saying, because I was almost getting ready to smoke, and I remember him saying, we're not going to smoke because we're not starting over. And it made me feel like I won't fail because I'm not going to let him fail. And I said, I'm going to make a group, and I'm going to be that for 10 people, 20 people. That's what not where I'm at now, but I thought I'm going to be that for those people, because that's what did it for me. And it seems to, we have a really high success rate.
Oh, it's
So
amazing. It's because it's guys, if you need tips and tricks, you're gonna get it. If you need someone, like Savannah said, like a quitting buddy, you're gonna find it there. If you just want somebody to talk to, you're gonna find it there. If you are suffering and you need someone to understand you or to cheer you up, you're gonna find it there. So I definitely recommend everyone to go and find that Facebook page. What's it called? We're gonna do this at the end of the show, but let's do it twice. So what's it called?
it's called Quit Smoke. We have my little cup there, it has the same thing. We made our own little quit smoking, start breathing thing. But it's QSSB is what we've knocked it down to, but it's quit smoking, start breathing, because I just wanted to breathe. I wanted to breathe, and I knew other people felt that way. So quit smoking, start breathing is what it's called.
Next question is, what would you say to a young person who thinks, well, I'm still young and one day I'll quit. My uncle Sam, he's been smoking for 25 years, nothing happened to him. How can you help those people? What can we tell to those people?
You may smoke. I know she's almost 78. I know a 70-year-old woman who smokes like a train, smoked just like I did. And, and you look at that and you're like, why quit? Like, why would I quit whenever she's almost 80 years old and she's smoking, until I'm sitting next to her and she's hacking her guts up saying, I'm going to try to quit again next week. I realized I didn't want to be 80 years old and say, I'm going to try again to quit. I don't want to say it's too late, but why do you want to do that when you're, and it's not a guarantee that, I start smoking when I'm 18, that I don't, have lung cancer or a heart disease of some sort when I'm 20. You don't know. It's not worth that risk. It's just, you smoke and absolutely nothing good is going to come out of it. Like it took me, I still sometimes have to do that. I still sometimes have to go, it's not doing what I think it's doing. Like it's only hurting me. It's all it is. It's hurting me. It's hurting everybody around me. It's just not worth it anymore. And, they have to understand that. They may not, yeah, they're young, but it's not when or if, it's just a matter of time before something happens to them. Like it's not, is it going to happen? It's going to happen in one way or another, whatever, toll it takes on them.
Yeah, no, guys, nothing good comes out of smoking. So don't live a whole lifetime telling yourself you want to quit. And then when you're 80 years old, you still want to say one day you want to quit. I think you kind of lose your self-respect as well. When your whole life you say you want to do something and you don't do it. That I think that damages your confidence. And then without confidence, you're finished in this life, basically. Yeah. Now, next question is a bit tricky. Now, I know you're a parent as well. Now, as a parent, what can they do? So let's say a parent that just realized, oh my God, I found cigarette in their kids' pockets or something. That is the worst nightmare. But what is the best strategy? What should they do? What they shouldn't do?
The funny thing is that honestly, I think the kids, I think, because most of my kids are teenagers. I have one toddler, but the rest are teenagers. I think they it's been ingrained in them so much that I don't think you're gonna, some you might, but it's very, very, very less common you're gonna find a pack of cigarettes in their pocket. What you're gonna find is a jewel or some sort of vape. You're gonna find things like that, which, because cigarettes are becoming, that's just not cool anymore. That's not what they know. That's bad. My own kids begged me to quit. They knew it was bad. And you're going to find, you know, you're going to find more so vapes and things like that. And, I found vapes. I think what I would do, say you did find cigarettes in their pocket. It all goes back to what I said about having that person, having a team, having a buddy, having someone with you that is going to suffer with you. If it was my daughter is almost 18. If I say I found cigarettes for her in her pocket, what does she see me struggle with? What does she see me addicted to or having trouble with? And that I would go with her and I would try to stop what I'm doing. So we would try to team up. I can't say enough how much it helps to have somebody. Like, it helps to have that support and have somebody suffer along with you, and not a spouse or someone just nag you all the time. Because I can tell you, when that happens, when someone is quit, all it does is scare you into either hide smoking, or, you don't want to quit when someone's telling you to quit. You don't want to. It just makes you, want more of it. You have to do it. You have to do it on your own, and you have to have support. You have to have a, I feel this with you type thing.
Mm-hmm. So don't just tell your kids quit, or don't get angry at them. Try to what Savahanna said basically tells me first step is try and understand them. It's hard. It's a very difficult thing. So you try and understand them. And then what I really like about your answer was find out what are you trying to quit, and then be a buddy. That's leading by example. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Suffer with them.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I live
by. Now the last question is, what are some of the really bad advices that you see people give for quitting cigarette?
I have seen, I think one of the worst is, well, besides if, someone comes on there and says, I'm trying to quit cold turkey. And then you say, I see someone say, well, don't do that. You need to go ahead and switch to a vape and try this, and try to push on them. When they got their head set on what they want to do, help them, help them follow that path. And if they fall, and they need to do this, then support that too. But don't say it. But one of the worst I see is someone says, I need to quit smoking. I want to quit smoking. And someone says, well, switch to weed, switch to marijuana, switch to this. And they're like, oh, I'm like, that's not any better. I was surprised to see how many people, marijuana, do whatever you want with it. That's none of my business. But we accept anybody. We've had people come in that I need to quit. I can't quit. I need to quit marijuana. And, they get laughed at other places or things like that. And we treat them the way we do our smokers. We have alcoholics in there, and we treat them the way we do our smokers. It all comes down to, they need somebody, and we are there. I have a huge admin team, they're struggling in all their own ways, and I have picked the strongest of the strongest out of all of them. And they've been there with me, they are on top of it. They are my strongest ones. And if you need something, they are there. And, they all struggle in their own way too. Yep. But we have our own big support system.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's, there's no judgment. I love how everybody openly the things you can't tell to your family members, guys, you can go into this community and say it to another few thousand people, and there's no judgment. Literally, no one judges no one. And
we're totally private too.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful community. Now, that'll bring us to the end of this episode. Now, do you have any final words, anything you'd like to tell to the listeners, and also tell us where people can find you and your group again?
I just know that it doesn't matter if you're, 17 or you're 70. You may feel, I felt like I could not do it. I could not, I was never going to be able to quit smoking. I was too addicted. You are never ever too addicted. Like you can do this. You may have to go through each different step and each different trial to figure out what will stick, but eventually one of those will stick with you. And when they do, you just have to fight it out. Like by the end of the first week, you're going to feel like you have been run over. And that means you're doing it right. Like I had to do things. I had to scream into pillows. I had to run outside and just keep yelling to myself that I'm stronger than this addiction. And whatever you have to do, it doesn't matter. I always tell them, the ones that are afraid they're going to gain weight and everything, I always tell them it's going to be a lot easier to lose 20 pounds a month from now than it is to lose your lung 5 years from now. You have to set your priorities and you just have to fight. And you can do it. You can get out. You can be free. Like it's shocking. And yeah, Quit Smoking, Start Breathing is where you can find us. And it's QSSB. I had one of my meds make, it all flashy and cute. And so you can't miss us. But we accept everybody. And you don't have to just quit smoking. You can quit, weed or alcohol or anything. If you just need to be somewhere safe, we
or
will.
even or even if you want to help somebody else to quit and you're running out of ideas, it's a good place to be. You can go there and ask questions. For example, if you want to help your loved one to quit, or you have a brother or a sister or a parent, it's a wonderful place because you can go there and there will be people like you who are going through the exact same situation, and that would be an awesome tip to get. Well, thank you so much, Savannah. That was awesome. That was an awesome meeting. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna end this.